Good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parco here with Francisco Rubalcava Jr. Thanks for being here. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. This is it's Thursday. The week's almost over. Not that we stopped working, but it's just another week down, I guess, and closer to impending craziness.
Right. I know it's like a countdown, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Well, it's only been a year, from craziness. Because for me, I slowed down in late October into November, and then I was okay. And then just in the last, I'd say 6 months, it's gotten a little bit slower. I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of people who want to do stuff, but we talked about on Tuesday that people are waiting for interest rates to get better, and we're trying to explain to them, stop it. Don't wait until they get better. Buy it now. I know we've said this for 2 years, almost seems like. Stop waiting. You're going to be able to refinance down the road. Rates are not going to improve that much in January, February, but they'll improve a little bit.
Right.
We already had our 1% increase or decrease, I should say.
Well, I think even, to piggyback even off of like the concepts of Tuesday where we kind of brought up, I remember about the about like people selling, right now and holding off. Like right now is a really opportune time to even be doing, the contingent sales.
Right.
During this time, things are slower. Like I have listings, and I was even
congratulations.
Surprised. No, thank you. No, but like even like my listing that I have one that was in Stockton, and it was pretty beat up. I had suggested listing it at like 380, and my clients wanted to go on at 395, right? So $15,000 difference. I didn't think that we were gonna get it right away,
and you did.
We didn't actually. It took a while, it did.
Yeah, but do you know if it was a price point or just the market?
Personally, I feel it was a mixture of both.
But you did get it.
Exactly. Okay. We got the list price,
right.
And it took 3 weeks.
When was it listed?
It was probably like beginning of November.
You're so funny. It took 3 weeks to be on the market.
But that's what I'm saying is like compared to exactly what we're used to, right?
But that's anomaly that you were used to.
Exactly.
Right. That I won the lottery. So every time I buy a ticket, I expect to win the lottery. Is that what that's basically what everybody thinks. And that's where we're at. And it's like, no, that doesn't work that way.
Well, it's like the mentality of like, because we got so accustomed to it, right? Like we got accustomed to like you list the house and within a week,
or a couple of days, hours.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that was the anomaly. It's just think of it the same way as a lottery. I won every time I get a ticket, I win. I didn't win this time. Oh my goodness.
Well, even then, like that, even where, what shocked me is that we got it at full price. We did get full price on it.
I'm not shocked. It depends on the house, what location, and there isn't that much inventory. If there was a bunch of inventory, yes, you wouldn't get that price. I know another one. I have an agent who comes on here regular, and he talked about how he thought it was this, and his seller wanted to do exactly what you just said, about 5% more, and they got over it.
That's crazy.
Right. And but you have to stop as an agent and go, okay, maybe 5% is not big. 10 to 20, forget it. But 5% is not a big deal. Nobody really knows what it's worth right now because there's not a lot of volume.
Right.
So you can't really price it accordingly because you don't know. There's just not enough volume in there. We're used to a lot more volume, and it's not there. We're at 35% of our normal. That's not enough volume to really price out homes properly as an agent. You follow what I'm getting at? So go with what your seller wants, but not if it's ridiculous.
Right. Well, because then, I mean, exactly. You reach a point where, and that's where it's like I'm saying, like, because I always look at things subjectively to like how an appraiser would, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like bottom line, I mean, they're looking at data,
right.
They don't always absorb, crazy changes, but that's where it's like, I mean, we're going to have the appraisal probably within the next week and a half. And,
okay, man.
Yeah. And well, that's the thing is like, at first I was like, man, but then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, like, I don't think we're going to have issues. Exactly like you said, right? Because and a lot of the times the reason that I typically go, more closer to where comparables and things are like that is because I also don't want my sellers to get wowed with like a high offer and take it, and then they have to just bring it back down anyway, right?
That's when that was back in the day where they would just go, okay, here we're going to go way over asking, and then when the appraisal comes in lower, we're going to ask for a reduction.
Right.
And then people got smart and they said, okay, no, you're guaranteeing, $5 or 10 grand over, this number.
And that's the market that we may be heading back into, right? Like we could very well be getting back into that the next year. And that's where, I keep trying to motivate people to make these changes now, right? Like we've been stressing and to make the changes now, refi later. And even right now, like, for example, like I have a listing that's going to be coming up soon, and they'll be listing, and then they want to go ahead and purchase afterwards with their proceeds. And, it's going to be a piece of cake. It's going to be a piece of cake to list contingent right now. It's simple. Right. There's not a craziness out there. And, probably, even for them though, on the other side where they're going to be selling, as long as you price accordingly, right, you're still going to move relatively quickly. It just depends how you approach it all.
Of course, it's always been that way. It's just back in the day, everybody's like, just price it for this and I'll get my offer, because there'll be multiple offers. Well, we'll get in a situation like that again, but it's just not there right now. But then if that situation comes, when you sell your house, you're going to have a hard time buying your house. And so you understand right now we're right at that, go get the book Tipping Point and understand what a tipping point is. We're finally here where we thought we were going to be here back in May, and then June and July and then August. And so now we're finally here, because the set retail sales for Christmas right now is not looking very good at all. Right. There are just not enough people, because 75% of all sales are still brick and mortar. Only 25% are online. And if you look at what happened online, it was more, but the actual retail sales are down. Right. That are not online.
I mean, even with, my friends and family now, like we've been reaching out and we're like, hey, we're just going to do a gift exchange. We're not buying everybody.
Everybody's doing that.
Yeah. Like it's just,
well, hold on. Here's the thing. After you're 18, you move out of the house, you don't need a birthday gift. You don't need a Christmas gift. Go get your own shit.
Yeah. Well, that's what
you're on your own.
Exactly. And that's kind of where, we all were.
That's how I grew up. I was out at 17. They were like, no more gifts for you.
Well, I think it's even the factor of like, again, it is with growing up, but like, even, obviously for like my nieces and nephews, we're getting all gifts, right? Like that's exactly like you said, they're still
grandkids, yes, that kind of stuff, yes, but adult children, no.
Yeah. Well, because it's like at that point too, it's like, what do you even need, right? Like it's just so at that, we literally within my family were like, well, it's funny because we're just doing like a cologne and perfume exchange at this point. We're just like, which ones do you want? And then we're just doing that.
We're doing a certain dollar amount, and we pulled out of a thing, and and then I got my son, my wife got my daughter-in-law, and then my wife's like swapped with other. I'm like, what the? Next time, whoever I pull, I don't want to be swapping with other people. Sorry, deal with it. Yeah.
But and again, it boils down to like where we are economically, like as a whole, right? Where we can all like relate in that aspect.
It's called inflation, and it's called this current president has really messed up. And I know there's some people are like, oh, this is the best market. Yeah, you're an insurance sales guy or something. You're not the normal person who has to worry about sales and other stuff. It's not as good as people think it is. There's certain industries that are doing great on this, but there's other industries that are hurting so badly, and companies. We're starting to see it. We were just with the JOLTS report that came out, we talked about on Tuesday, where we went from 12 million jobs in 2021 to now, or 2022, to only 8.3 million jobs currently. That's 4 million jobs gone. And they actually said that number could be counting double jobs because of how they get the numbers. I think it's a lot worse than we know it, and that's going to keep going down, because I know a lot of people who are looking for jobs right now, and they keep putting in for the jobs that they should get, and they keep getting, sorry, we're not hiring now, we're not doing this, or we're going in a different direction. Oh, really? What does that mean? So I'm just saying I think those jobs are there, but they're not really going to hire for them right now.
Right. And again, I mean, as a whole, right, you think of like exactly how you said, right? Like with the current administration, how like some people are like, oh, this is good. Business wise, for some people, yes, it may. But when you look at like, I mean, especially the real estate, for like a lot of
No, it
people,
destroyed the market.
exactly. Like it's not, it just wasn't favorable. And now we're starting to switch. And I think we have like a little buffer period where like right now it's like we're saying, lock in and make your changes, like if you can and you see something and you're on the fence, just go for it.
Because here's what a lot of people say, well, I'm going to wait until the rates go down. And then that means there's a recession or things are, unemployment's higher. You might be one of those unemployed people and then you're not going to get a house. But if you get a house and it's FHA, they have to work with you for up to at least 12 months on a partial claim to put on that loan before they can't kick you out. So there's so much more protection when you own the property than when you rent. And so understand that you might be one of those people who don't have a job next year that wanted to buy. Well, do it now.
Yeah. Do it now. Lock in, prepare for, the better rates and you will be reaping the benefits.
Or just prepare for a long-term future. That you buy the house, you can afford it now. They say, when's the best time to buy? When you can afford it. And if you can afford it, buy now. If you can't, then, you're going to have to deal with other stuff. But buy it now, stop it, and then just look, okay, this is my long-term goal for this, and don't focus on refinance right now. That's extra that can, help you out down the road. But don't focus on that's what my plan. I'm going to get in, and then within 1 year, I'm going to refinance. Because people get in FHA, they're probably not refinancing in 1 year because of how they have the mortgage insurance on there and all the other stuff. You have to run the numbers. Your loan amount can't go over the original loan amount. Right? You only have that to work with. It's a totally different world. So you need to have more equity. Well, if we go up 10%, then you could potentially refinance as a conventional loan, right? There's ways to do it, but you need to have that appreciation in order to refinance. So don't go in there thinking 1 year I'm refinancing with FHA. VA is different, conventional is different, but FHA has a totally different guidelines.
Right.
So that's all I have. What do you got? You got anything else?
No, that's leading off of that, just reach out to us for those kinds of questions, right? Like I think it is important. Ending the show off of that, like if you're curious, reach out. You can reach me 209-493-2400. You can reach Ed literally everywhere at Parco.
That's correct. Thanks for adding that in. It's about time. It's only been a year or so that you finally stepped up there doing the close. But I will say this: I did a little post about divorces. If you're going through a divorce and you have a property, you have questions on how to buy out the other side, whatever those questions are, what you should do with that property, reach out to us. We can help you with that to understand what you can do and what you can't do. If if someone passed away and you have a property and you want to move into it and buy it from your other heirs, there's ways to do that too. Just reach out to us and we can walk you through that process. All right, everybody, make it a great day. Thanks for being here, Francisco, and we will talk to you next week.